G'day everyone, I'm Rebecca Randall. I'm the project lead of the Regional Resource Recovery team at Albury City Council. We support 13 councils across the Riverina and Murray waste groups. We cover 120,000 square kilometres of geographical area, and our councils all vary in population, access to resources and priorities. I'm relatively new to the waste sector compared to a lot of you in this room. I'm coming up to my second year, so I've been on a very steep learning curve, but I'd like to just tell you a little bit about my background. So I grew up in regional Victoria in a small town called Gurumbat. I'm sure none of you have heard of that place. It's a one street, one pub, one school town. You go to work, you go to school, and the highlight of the week is going to the footy at the weekend. I left there to go to Melbourne to work for state government for many years, rolling out financial systems. Then I moved back to regional Victoria to work for the local water authority, and then I spent the last 7 years before this role as a self-employed freelance photographer and filmmaker. And it's great working for yourself. You take annual leave whenever you like. However, business is tough working for yourself. You don't have guaranteed income, and you are having to constantly be ahead of the game to be competitive against other businesses. So I guess I have a bit of empathy there for other businesses, and obviously circular economy has a big focus on working with businesses. Hopefully I can do this right. Oh, thank you. Am I doing... Something's happening. Right? Oh, here we go. Should be entertaining. So I'd just like to acknowledge Transport New South Wales, who provided the funding for this project, and also New South Wales EPA for supporting me to be here today. So I just want to talk to you about circular economy in a regional context, because obviously that's very important to me. But, you know, in the region and remote rural areas, transport is a major issue, and some of our towns might be 100 kilometres apart, nothing in between, just a great big long road, sometimes a dirt road. So transport is a major issue. We have limited access to transport options and the costs are very high. We also have lack of infrastructure. Talking about FOGO, some of our towns are over 100 kilometres from a processing facility, so it's not that easy to roll out some of these things for our communities. Our councils sometimes have very limited resources. Some of them have under 40 staff and a 50% vacancy rate because they can't get people in the roles. And sometimes one person might be doing the role of 3 or 4 different positions. There's some old-fashioned attitudes. Sometimes education's low, and why should we change? We've been doing this forever. Nothing's wrong, it's not broke, why fix it? And sometimes landfill can be cheaper than recycling. So there are some barriers there. And I guess the reason I want to talk about my background as a regional Australian while I'm in the room in front of state agencies who are metropolitan based, it'd be really great to actually have you guys come out sometimes. And I'm not talking about Albury or Wagga, I'm talking about get right out into those one street, one pub, one school towns. Because our council staff, you know, they live and work in that environment. There's really very little separation between work and their personal life. So when we're implementing legislation and changes, it'd be nice to have them in mind and have the appropriate access to support. Oh, thank you so much. So I guess also talking about barriers and the business community, how can we remove all of these barriers for them and make it much easier for them to include recycled content in their manufacturing? So there is some technology out there, which is fabulous. The Aspire platform, a lot of people have mentioned that to me and I checked it out. And some of the functionality is really great. Again, however, there are some limitations, and unfortunately what I found is this is only as good as the businesses and organisations that subscribe to it. And there's a high cost for that subscription. But also, you know, when I went to look for some material in the Albury-Wodonga area, there was just nothing. In fact, there was nothing beyond Melbourne and Sydney, and I think above as well. So it just wouldn't work for us being based in the region. So we do need an alternative if we want to try and make something happen in rural and regional Australia. So we were given the opportunity to trial a data portal. This had been funded by a $1 million grant through the Transport for New South Wales Innovation Fund. It initially had been trialled in Western Parkland, Sydney, and they were looking for a regional area to move on to in their stage 2. Pecklet Software is the developer, and basically, they have purchased data sets of all the businesses in the RAMJO, so the Riverina and Murray region, utilising the Australian Business Register, Google, and I believe also the bin trim data was also provided for them to put all this together. Our role was testing the system, also validating some of the data that was on there and providing some recommendations that we might be able to enable this software to be used in the future. So it is a predictive model based on 1 million businesses in Europe. So the Pecklet developer explained it to me that if there's a bakery in France with 10 employees, they're probably likely to have a very similar waste output to a bakery in Albury with 10 employees. And so using that model, that's transferred to all the businesses in our region. So there were some challenges in validating the data. There were issues with registered versus actual businesses. So, you know, a business name might not be what we know it as in the, I was going to say the yellow pages, Google. Yeah, addresses were also an issue because business might be registered somewhere else. So there was a little bit of work in going through all of that, but hopefully we have been able to support the developer to roll out any future stages with a bit more ease. We have a couple of case studies. So we were reached out from a timber laminate company down in Benalla in regional Victoria, searching for pallets. They were wanting a really large volume of pallets, 10,000 tonnes a year. So we were able to set them up on the portal, and they were able to go in and independently search for that material themselves, which took away us having to find that material for them. Another example was GoTerra, who were looking for material to establish a new location, so they were able to go into the portal and have a look for organic material and find locations that they would be able to set up and be viable. I'm going to attempt a demonstration. It's pre-recorded, but no narrative, so I'll have a go at doing that. So I'm scared, is this just going to play? Maybe if I click again. Something's happening. Great. Okay, so there's the data portal. That there is the RAMJO region, and all those blue dots are, I guess, the major towns. And as we drill down further, you can see those smaller blue dots are individual businesses. As I drill down further, you can see when I click on one of these dots, it shows you the name of the business and also what their waste outputs are, or their predicted waste outputs. As you can see, there's predicted paper and cardboard of 1.8 tonnes per annum. So there's just a few examples there. and there's a number of subtypes under all of those waste materials. I think I'm going to go over to another town. That was Albury. This is Corowa. Again, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar down on the border. But on this occasion, I think I'm going to demonstrate where we can search by material type. So as you can see there on the left, we've got organics, and then you can drill down further to kitchen and waste. And I've just clicked food waste there. So just down the bottom, I think I'm going to reveal another little panel which actually highlights who are the largest contributors there to waste. So the Corowa RSL Club, most people down our way would know of that. It's a pretty big venue, so it's no surprise they have 13 tonnes a year of food waste. So just going back out, I think I'm going to demonstrate. So you can see here we've got existing takers of waste. So these, producers of waste, but we do also have businesses listed on the portal who will take waste. So I'm just going to unclick there and demonstrate some of the businesses listed as taking waste. So I'm going to show you a organics facility. And over in Wagga Wagga, hello to my Re-Rock friends, we've got Carbon Mate, who you then can click on their website and check them out. So they take a lot of our organic material in the region. We also have, I think, an example of a metal recycler down in Corowa again. So I guess businesses, you know, if they're looking for a home for their waste, they would be able to get onto the portal and actively and independently search for this information themselves. And all of the contact information is there. So there's also potential takers. So these businesses aren't confirmed as taking waste, but they have the potential to. So in this instance, these are some of the plastic manufacturers in Albury Wodonga. And so they're listed here. So I guess, again, it would not restrict a business making contact and finding out whether they're in a position to recycle any plastic. Plastic forests there, yes, they're doing great work actually, turning plastic into garden edging and the like. So they are actually an existing taker of waste. Just a quick final demonstration of the heat maps there. So I guess if industry is coming in to have a little look and go, oh, where is there a big volume of a particular waste material, this just gives you an instant glance of what's there. So that is, I guess, just a little highlight reel of the portal. So I think just some of the benefits of this model to date is the unrestricted access to data. As I said, removing barriers for businesses I think is really important. If we had this available to all businesses, there'd be no reason why they couldn't get in and independently source this information. It also provides opportunities for industry to identify possibilities. So hopefully something like this could encourage more collaboration. There could be some potential risks, and we're just thinking that perhaps there might be some issues around privacy. And whether we would need to look at some mitigation options such as privacy controls or anonymous data. So I guess following our trial, some of the recommendations were that obviously the waste and manufacturing doesn't stop at RAMJO's doorstep. You know, if we can expand this to the southern parts of New South Wales in the first instance, and we've already been having some discussions with our neighbouring joint organisations, which is very exciting, that would be beneficial. We really identified that we need resources to engage with the businesses to not only educate them further about circular economy, but if we could onboard them to the platform and give them some, you know, tips and tricks and how to drive it, I think that would be worthwhile. And also we recognise that the portal is in its early stages and there's potentially some functionality that could be brought in to enhance it even further, where maybe businesses are communicating directly with each other via the portal, and that way we could maybe measure a little bit of that activity as well. So, if you have any questions, please let me know.